Okay, so here we're going to do a drawing from the page 81 handout. Page 81 handout should look familiar. This is one that you did back in the day in CAD when we did some 3D solids on CAD. But I really like this handout because it has some simple drawings that you can get the concepts of what I'm trying to show you here on this. So for Fusion, we're going to draw this block. When we look at this, we want to look to see what view we want to draw it from. So from this side, looking at it here, this is the front view of it. So we're going to draw this from the front view. We're going to ignore this extra little front piece for a little bit, and we're just going to draw this L-shaped block here in the front view. So here on Fusion, the way that's going to look is like this. We're going to go up here to Create Sketch. We're going to create that sketch on the front plane right here. And there in that front plane, we are just going to, again, draw that L-shaped piece. So we're going to click it here and come across. Now, I do want to note here, notice that little blue icon right above the line. That icon is showing that it is horizontal to that origin coordinate, or origin plane. That's important. We're going to look at that here in just a second. So we're going to click that line there, up, and over. And we're going to just draw this little, again, L-shaped block here. All right, so there's my great L-shaped blocks. Now notice, here I have the perpendicular symbol showing it in the corner, and I have the skin symbol here that shows that it is parallel to this origin x coordinate. I had this problem earlier, or a few days ago, where somebody had made a mistake and their drawing would twist. They had it fully dimensioned, and they had it fully constrained, they thought, for the midpoints of their lines, but yet their drawing still wasn't black. It was still blue. Well, the reason is because they made a mistake when they were first drawing it, and they deleted out this original line here. When you delete out that original line and then draw it back in, notice what happens. That line goes back, the perpendiculars show up, but that parallel constraint to the origin is gone now. Without that there, their drawing could just spin and rotate on the screen, and it wasn't staying constrained. So the solution here is, what you need to do is pick your horizontal and vertical constraint, click on this line, and then again it puts in that constraint, locking it horizontally to that origin. And then that's great, and it's good to go. All right, from here, we're going to go ahead and dimension this. We're going to dimension from each side across. We're going to dimension it at 3. We're going to dimension this top portion here at 1.5. All right, next, we're going to dimension our height. We're going to make our height 2. And this portion of it, we're going to make at 1.25. Looks pretty good. What we need to do now is go ahead and create our points. Put a point in on the midpoint of this side on the right, or sorry, on the left, and the midpoint of the line on the bottom. Typically, I like to constrain the top and the right side with those midpoints, but this drawing is not possible, so you do it on these two sides and it's just as good. We're going to go ahead and then use our horizontal and vertical constraint and constrain that to our origin there, and this one to our origin here. For some reason, I'm missing something. Let's see what I'm missing. Oh. For whatever reason, my line, I didn't get it connected to that endpoint. Probably when I redrew that line back in. I need to trim off that little piece of line, so I'm going to hit X and trim that off. And delete out that one. All right, let's see what we got there. All right, well, now, mine's having some issues. Put that one back into there. Let's put in our overall dimension. Back in at 3 and see what I got. I still have some issues here. Okay, we're doing that. I need to get rid of that constraint there on the bottom, my point constraint. And as you notice here, you just always have to troubleshoot it a little bit. See how it's moving. Put that one back in there at the midpoint and reconstrain this one back. There we go. Now it's all blue. All of my dimensions are correct. We can move these around a little bit so they're a little bit more organized, and that looks great. Finish our sketch there. And now we're going to go ahead and go extrude. When I extrude this again, as we typically do, we're going to extrude symmetric, so it goes both ways. We're going to make the whole length. And on this one, we're going to make it 1 1/4. So there's my object there. Okay, next what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and sketch. We're going to sketch on this front surface here, not on our plane, but on our front surface here. And we're going to create a rectangle in this bottom corner. That's that extra little piece that's added on the front side of there. Biggest thing here with it is just don't connect it to the origin. If you do, it's going to be locked into place. We want to be able to change the size of that, so we'll put it over there somewhere. When we look at our drawing here, we can see it's shorter than this other portion. We're keeping everything on a 1/4 inch increment, so we're going to make this a 1/4 inch shorter. We can see it sticks past this midpoint a little bit, so again, 1/4 inch increment, we're just going to make it a 1/4 inch longer. So we're going to come back here, dimension from here to here. If you don't remember, the other one was 1.5, so we're going to make this 1.75. From here to here. Again, if you don't remember, this is 1 1/4, so we're just going to make this a 1/4 inch shorter and make it 1. So there's that looking good. We're going to go ahead and finish our sketch. Going to extrude. Here I have to select it, so I'm going to extrude that block. And I can just drag it out. Whoops, if I can select it here. Oh, I selected the whole thing. Let me try that again. Extrude this. Here I can just drag it out. And I can just drag this out at a 1/4 of an inch. And there that piece is, and that piece is finished. At this point, I want you to save this, and I'm not going to save mine, but I want you to save this. I want you to create a new folder. The new folder I want you to call is page 81 and 82, and save this drawing inside of that folder and name it P81 Top A. Name it P81 Top A in a new folder called page 81 and 82. We're going to do several drawings off of page 81 and 82, and getting those organized is an important step. All right, moving on. What we're going to do now is, much like what you did on the Cameron block, remember you had that base piece, that kind of centerpiece of the Cameron block, and you put other parts into it, making the Cameron block into one rectangular solid object. Here, I want to do a similar thing to this. I want to add pieces to this to make this into one rectangular solid. So for example, to make this portion here into a rectangular solid, I'd have to create a block here that's the same height as this, same depth, and same width, that fits just right in here. Create another little rectangular block that goes here to start finishing this off. So to do that, we're going to go ahead over here and create sketch. Going to create our sketch on that surface right there and make a rectangle. We're going to connect a rectangle from this corner down to this corner. If you've done that correctly, it should all turn black there, and it will be fully constrained. No dimensions needed, and we actually don't want to dimension this. So if you have a mistake and you have to dimension it, you have an issue, you want to redo that so you don't have to dimension it. So go ahead and finish that sketch and extrude. Extrude that surface. Now here we're going to do it a little bit different. Instead of setting a distance, well actually first, just watch here for a moment. Don't do this, but just watch here for a moment. If we don't remember, this came up there, it should be 0.75. So we're going to go 0.75 for that. I don't want it to join to it, so we're going to do something new here. We're going to go ahead and add it to a new component down here. Instead of join, we're going to go to new component. And we're going to go, okay, again, don't do this, just watch. So here's this piece, 0.75 tall, fits in there just perfectly, and that's good, right? Well, but let's say, oh no, the design of this thing changed. I messed up the first time. The design of this original block, it wasn't supposed to be 2 inches tall, it's supposed to be 3 inches tall. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here to the sketch of that block, which is right down here, double click on it, and I'm going to change that to a 3-inch tall block. That's great. I'm going to go finish sketch, come out here, and oh, well now this block's the right height, but oh, now this block doesn't fit in there right. It's a mess. Well, this is where Fusion is the most powerful. Fusion is awesome for this next part. I actually like Fusion better than I like Inventor for this next part. So for this, what we need to do is we need to modify this block again. So I'm going to come down here and double click on that block. Instead of putting it in as a distance, then you guys can go ahead and do this. Go ahead and extrude that block. Instead of putting it in as a distance, put it into to object. So go to object right here, that choice. Pick this top surface to make it 2. Go ahead and make sure down here it's still changed to a new body. And then go OK. Now what this does for you is, by doing it this way, oh no, our design changed. Yeah, messed up again. Let's go in here. That wasn't supposed to be 2 inches tall. That was supposed to be 4 inches tall. So change that to 4 inches, come back here, and notice how to automatically change this other part that was linked to it to 4 inches tall. Okay, let's say, man, there's another design change. This block wasn't extruded 2 inches. This block was extruded, or sorry, 1.25 inches. This block was extruded 3 inches. So there it is, extruded 3 inches, okay. Since I referenced that and connected to the corners, notice how it automatically changes this other part. I'm going to go ahead and undo my back. You did not need to do those other changes. This is the real power of Fusion. Fusion is awesome for this. Inventor will do some of these things, or will do these same things, but it's a little bit easier here in Fusion. It just is amazing to do this. In your futures, designing parts like this to where they're linked together, and you make a design change on one part and it makes it on the subsequent parts, is huge. That's going to be a huge cost savings for a company and a huge time savings for you. All right, so now let's make our next part. So we're going to go ahead and create sketch. I'm going to create a part here on this front surface right there. I'm going to connect that point, or that rectangle. I'm going to create a rectangle here. I'm going to connect it down here to this bottom corner and drag it up and around to, I actually want it to come to here, but I want it to come all the way up. So I'm just going to have to connect it up here on this top line somewhere. So I'm going to go about there. So notice what that did. That made these 3 lines black, but it kept this one blue. Well, I can't put a dimension in there for that because we just saw what that would do to us. The design change, it won't be linked to it. So what we have to do is we have to make this blue line line up with this part of the object. To do that, we're going to use a constraint up here. What constraint do you think you might use? Think about it, and I'll tell you. It's going to be a collinear constraint. So if we click on collinear, I want to make this line collinear to this one. And notice how that turned that line all black. Everything on here is all black. It's great. We're going to go ahead and finish sketch. We're going to go ahead and go to extrude. Here I have to select it because it doesn't know what I want to extrude, which one of these surfaces. I want to select this one. Again, we're going to change this instead of distance. We're going to go to object. We're going to go to this front surface here. Again, we don't want to join it to it. So again, we're going to come down here and add it to a new component and go OK. And notice how perfectly that piece got put in there. All right, let's keep going. Let's go create new sketch again. This time I'm going to do it down here on this surface. This one again, I'm going to connect my piece. I want it actually to go to right here to this corner. And I'm going to come up and over. Now here I want to go over to here, but I can't actually select on there. So again, much like I did the last one, I'm going to just have to make it out here to the wide open to there. And now I'm going to have to again use collinear. I want this piece to be collinear over here. This one to be collinear right to there. Now that all is all full black, I want to finish my sketch. I'm going to go ahead and twist this up in 3D a little bit. Extrude. Select that piece. I'm going to go out here to this surface and make it a new component and go OK. Alright, so now I have one more little piece I want to put on there. So I'm going to go ahead and create another sketch. Again, I'm going to go to this surface. I'm going to go ahead and go to this corner and pull it down and around. Once again, it won't connect to here. It's because I picked that sketch on this portion of it and not this other. So again, I'm going to go out there to the open. I'm going to go collinear, there to there, there to there. It's all black. I'm going to finish my sketch. Extrude. Now notice here, it only highlights that one part. I've got to click again and highlight that portion of it. I'm going to extrude that to the object. Here I want to select the main portion of the main block instead of one of these other two pieces. This first middle block is best to do that too. And I'm going to go new component and go OK. There, that thing is done. The one last step I want you to do this before you submit it is come up here to inspect. And component color cycling toggle, turn that on, and it just makes it so I can see the different parts a little bit more easily. Okay, so this you're going to upload to Student View, take a screenshot of it just like that, and you're great. The next portion of this is I want you to choose another drawing from page 81, the top of page 81. You see your choices there on the class website. I want you to do exactly the same steps as what we just did here with the next parts. On that, you make the base part, make it all as one piece. All as one component, and then add the other components to it. I want you to do a grand total of 5 pieces. So after you make your base piece, you're going to make 4 additional pieces for a grand total of 5. Some of those you might have to be creative and make some smaller pieces in there. Other ones, if you choose one of the last ones, like N or P, they're a little bit more complex. You might have to make some of your other parts more complex in between. You choose appropriately of what skill level you want to do, and create one of those and turn it in to student view also. All right, good luck.